Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 11:17 a.m. on the 19th of January 2024. Well, the sun's out and the forecast says partly sunny and it's a bit cloudy. But the sun is out, so we're having a nice day. It's 31 degrees today, but it feels a little bit cooler because it's less humid, I guess. But I'm sitting in my living room talking to you with the aircon on. I've got Charlie outside on her own, which I feel guilty about, but she hasn't seen much sunshine lately, so I thought it's nice for her to be outside, being a real bird in the sunshine. But yes, a lovely day. As you can see, I've not long ago had a shower, washed my hair in preparation for my big dancing night out tonight, if I make it, because I've got a bit of sciatica in my left hip and my left buttock, and it feels like I've been chewed on by a small Shetland pony. It's not too painful, but it's niggling away, and it's been niggling away for a few days. Started with a bit of felt like someone had just poked me, and now the pain's intensified too. It feels like I've had a bit of a chomp out of my ass by an ass, but I'm soldiering on as I do, and if I feel powerful in my core and energized and motivated and a bit fractious babies, I'll be out dancing as my usual habit on Friday night. Ramjet are playing tonight, so I can be guaranteed a good night out, as I have every Friday night with my favourite bands, the other band being Alter Egos. So yes, on that note I begin today's readings of Even Date. I wrote in 2023, my little dose of triumph, knowing that I was right all along, right, about certain subjects. You can guess. I see baby Castro's New Zealand comrade in arms has resigned after I have to laugh because I was talking about being bitten on the buttocks by a horse, and here we have Horseface. Has resigned after enforcing an untested experimental medication on the New Zealand population, claiming she lacks the energy to carry on. Oh, all together now. Oh, nice. Poisons several generations in one go, then quits while she's ahead. Evil personified. Vile. So, there we have it. Today I got the awful news via, can't remember who was discussing it actually. I think it was Neil Oliver. Excess deaths in children are up by 8% in the UK. Alarming. Very alarming. And nothing I individually can do about it, because these parents thought they were doing the right thing for their children, following the coercion and the propaganda at the time, right? Jesus. And my own daughters went along with that narrative quite happily to keep their jobs, and now will never have children. So you can imagine my barely contained rage right now. Little children dying of excess deaths. I fear for my neighbourhood children also, since their parents also glibly went along with everything. It's heinous. If my children had been young and under my household, I would not have complied. But they were adult women and they made their own decisions. And that's the fallout we're left with. Today I saw a new GP. I gave him my letter of introduction from my psychiatrist. I didn't get a check-up on my bladder, as it seems a bit better, but I brought in my form for a medical certificate for my driver's licence, which needs to be done every 2 years. I also got scripts for Ventolin and Seretide for the next time my lungs fail me, which I'll probably have to organise that soon too, as I'm running low. Hopefully life will run smoothly for me for a long while. Hopefully. I am looking forward to dancing tomorrow night. The exercise is good for me. 19th of January 2022. I posted a Happy New Year video on YouTube, and I mentioned laughing out loud 16 days later. The ex-lover turns up at West End just as we finished drumming. So funny. Well, I was amused back then in 2022, but it ceases to be amusing when it continues to happen with monotonous regularity. A man that was only vapid and sadistic and cruel, by the way. 1:11 a.m, 19th of January 2022. Make a wish. I wish for truest, deepest loves that are authentic and heartfelt and sincere and loving and loyal and faithful to me and only me, with eyes only for me, from, their own soul, heart, mind, body, emotions, spirit. I'm done with lackluster lads that just cycle around me like a horrifying shadowscape of a horror movie in a cyclic fucking drain that goes nowhere. Time to spiral up out of that morass of evil and invite the one into my life. Is there one out there for me? Well, my mother used to say there's a lid for every pot, but she had multiple lids for her pot, honey, and none of them were decent men. So I learnt early to be very, very circumspect. And even with my circumspection, I invited the most ignoble, evil men into my inner sanctum sanctorum. So there is that. Childhood brainwashing from infancy, from debauched, evil, perverted parents has not done me any good, people. But life goes on. There's beautiful men out the world. I'm looking out the window at the Australian postman, who's a Pacific Islander, and he's a kind soul. Whenever he comes to deliver me a parcel, he walks through my gate and meets me halfway in the yard because I usually see him approach, and I go to the gate. And he's just so kind and sweet, and offers great interpersonal service. A lovely man. So there are lovely men out in the world. Of course, they're all married to someone else, but it inspires me that there are lovely men out in the world who aren't creepy and don't have nasty fucking agendas and won't let me down. One day, eh? One day. You have to laugh. 19th of January 2021. I had a lovely day today. Lynn visited, then later on, Crystal surprised me with a visit. Lynn and I were reading a fairy story out of a book I sort of inherited when I was 13 years old, when my elderly Scottish neighbour, Mrs. Walker, died. I gathered the book out of a skip bin as I could not bear to see it be thrown out. I told the story to Lynn how Mrs. Walker had never actually liked me, and how I used to scramble down the flax bushes beside our shed, which meant I landed in her garden. By scrambling, I called it flax jumping, and I would jump from bush to bush, and the flat leaves, tough, shiny flat leaves of the flax, acted as a kind of slide. So I was actually sliding down the cliff on the bushes, which was great fun, but also very, very dangerous, especially the time I ran out of flats and there was a 100-foot drop and I had to, a 7-year-old self, had to pull myself back up the cliff to safety. Oops. But I was intrepid. I was a little bit of a tomboy, and I ran wild as a child. It's part of why I'm still to this day running a bit wild in my spirit, right? I wouldn't be, why is that even back to front? I wouldn't be clambering up bloody cliffs anymore though. I finally learnt that that's not a good idea. In fact, I froze when I was 16 going to climb up the cliff behind our house. I froze with fear and couldn't move either up or down for about 15 minutes till I wrangled my way back down again. It's amazing what happens when you become an adult. You lose confidence in your abilities, and also, I guess, the centre of gravity and the density and the mass. You become more conscious that you're bigger and you have to hurl yourself up and you don't have the lightness of your feet anymore. Or maybe you just simply talk yourself out of it. I mean, adults do go abseiling, don't they? I got a friend from drumming actually. She does rock climbing and absolutely loves it. But she's very slim and very lithe, so doesn't have as much density as Mama T has. Anyway, I landed in her garden when I was 7. She wore a long silvery braid that reached her knees and would sometimes tie her braided hair under a leather belt she wore. Whenever she saw me land in that corner of her garden, she would yell out, "Get out of my garden, you nasty, rotten, smelly infant!" I would just roll my eyes, dust myself off, and leave immediately. She never hit me, but would mutter under her breath. She had a Scottish accent, which I failed to do just then, but the tone was pretty accurate. She had some form of dementia and genuinely believed my mad asshole parents were Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller. She had no frame of reference for their child. Marilyn Monroe never had children, so she saw me as some kind of pest or interloper. Anyway, imagine my surprise when I opened the ancient book. It's 121 years old, to discover it was gifted to Mrs. Walker by her brother James in 1900, and her maiden name was Euphemia Dunbar Anderson, a relation, as my Scottish forebears on my grandmother Connie's line were Andersons. Funny. I told Lynn that, as the book is starting to disintegrate, we should read each other a story each time she visits, and she asked if I would gift it to her when I die. I said, "Why wait until I die? We shall enjoy the stories now, and when I have done reading them, I shall gift it to you." So, and I didn't actually wait to read all the stories. I gifted it to her fairly soon after, because my friend Lynn is one of my most generous, kind earth angels and has been a loving, supportive sister to me since we first met when I came to Brisbane, Australia, 35 and a half years ago. And I couldn't deny her that gift. It's rare that she asks for anything from me. So I did give it to her, and I'm happy that she was happy to receive it. So there we were, reading beautifully to each other the very same story, Chaffinch, that we had both independently opened the book to. Prince Chaffinch, sorry. A sign. It was lovely sitting in the garden with the breezes, the dog, and bird playing at my feet. Crystal has gone to pick up grilled burgers for our dinner. A perfect day. Thank you, angels, friends, and my daughter and pets, for another gorgeous day. Hallelujah. Here I posted some portraits of our beautiful Socks, who is now in Valhalla, and I wrote, I need to choose one of these photos for my painting of Socks that I want to do on the right hand side of my bookshelf project. And here we see him in all his feline magnificence, including one of Jared and him giving each other a little kiss. He was a lovely cat and a lovely friend too, to Jared and myself, when Jared when he visited. That was a lovely night actually. We took lots of photos. Oh, sorry. That was a lovely night actually. We took lots of photos of Socks, which I'm glad we did. But I'm going to show you, I forgot that I'm not filming on my iPhone. Bugger. I'm going to show you the painting I did of Socks. I hope you can see it. It's a bit weird having to drag the laptop over. There he is. Came up quite nice, didn't it? I mean, I always think that I'm not really much of an artist and can't really paint, but he came up pretty true to life. So there's that. And on the side, I think I've showed you before one of my videos, but I think it might be one that I deleted. So I don't know if you can see him. Oh, there we go. Well, you've got half of Beauregard anyway. Here. Oh, crikey. It's hard that my iPhone doesn't film anymore. No, that's not working. Anyway, you get my vibe, darlings. Saw Socksy perfectly. Oh, just plug the mouse back in. Right. What else did I have plugged in here? Bit of faffing around on the psychedelic dreamer's part. Just bear with me. I'm still living my dream every day. Spiralling in infinity like everyone else on the planet. Whew. Quite puffed after that. Might have a drink of water. Sip of water. Right, so there you have it, the beautiful portrait of Socks. As I cherish my beloveds. I once did a beautiful drawing of the ex-lover that still chases me around at red lights and crossroads on occasion. And I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I just drew it, and it was a really good portrait of him. I drew it from memory because I hadn't seen him in years, and it was excellent. And you know what? And like a fucking idiot, I thought, oh, it's so weird that I woke up and drew that picture of him. It must be the effects of some kind of spell, love spell, or spirit-led. So I burnt it a bit later on. I shouldn't have burnt it. I should have cherished it. It was a good drawing, and but I guess I didn't want to keep the energy of a man around me in my life that doesn't really love me and was never kind. Well, he was kind on a few occasions, like the time he gave me $20 to buy cat biscuits. Sorry, lent me $20. And then when I paid him back at the Livewire bar, he later accused me that I'd never paid him back, for which I was livid, making me out to be a bludger and a schnorrer and a liar. Oh, I wanted to murder him for that alone. Not that I would actually murder him, you understand, but I was really upset about that, to just dehumanise me like that, disrespect and dishonour me. But that was it. He was into that. He was into negging all the time. Negging, putting women down like he was some sort of fucking king. No, what he was a dickhead. Absolute giant dick. Not very intelligent either, as far as I could tell. I mean, an intelligent man with a bit of couth and a bit of wisdom would never treat a woman so appallingly. But anyway, I drew that picture of him in the middle of the night one night, about 2 a.m, and I looked at it the next day, thought that's actually awesome. And I guess if I really wanted to, I could draw it again from memory, but why bother? Who needs that stale porridge in your life? I had a friend at the casino. She's now remarried, but one time she had one of her former flames floating around her, stirring her up. She says, I don't know why he hangs around me all the time. It's over, and he was awful to me anyway. I said, oh, God, you too. I said, why do they keep doing this? It's not like they're worthy of us. They didn't love us. They didn't treat us with decency and respect and honour. Didn't even fucking date us. But why would you want that? So I looked at her and I said, there's nothing worse than having to eat cold, stale porridge. So for months after, every time that dude turned up to look at my beautiful friend Jojo, she'd look at me and I'd look at her and we'd giggle and I'd mouth porridge. She'd porridge. And it got to the stage all we had to say was porridge, and we'd go insane. We'd be howling. The tears would be rolling down our eyes, right? And these doofuses were completely, had no clue what the in-joke was. So, yes, I had to take on my own advice every time I saw that dreadlock nitwit wonder boy. I'd think porridge. But anyway, what can you do with a woman like that? One day there will come a time when there will be a loving man in my life, and all the porridge nitwits will be thinking, well, I missed out, because they really fucked up big time, by the way, majorly fucked up. And it's okay. It's okay. They weren't for me. Life goes on, babies. 19th of January 2020. Jared and I went to the Lifeline Book Festival today. I was, in particular, searching for books of famous artists or other unusual quirky materials for my decoupage projects. Jared found the semi-erotic photography magazines called Black and White that are no longer in print and hard to find. When he brought one of them over to me, I sighed almost orgasmically with happiness. Too big size, lol. It just happened naturally, like I wasn't even hamming up for an audience. I just went, oh, because as I have been searching for them for several years. Which reminds me, the book fest is on again. I should go. I looked up to see a good-looking younger man in his mid-30s, almost laughing as he had overheard my loud sighs of delight and totally misinterpreted them. He grinned back at me, and I gave him my mad grin when I realised I've been caught out being human and womanly, but also mischievously childlike. But to cover my increasing embarrassment, I called out to Jared in a much deeper voice. Well, Jared, are there any more where that came from? He replied from about 6 metres away. We've hit the mother lode, I replied, voice deeper still. Ah, yes, good work. You are clever. Jared returns to my side with 10 or 12 black and white magazines, while several men hovered just out of my line of vision. One woman joined them, wanting to see what my precious haul was. But no. Mama T guarded those books like Cerberus at the gates of hell. I even leaned my hobbit body over them to protect them from their greedy gaze. It was hilarious, really quite insanely hilarious. I also bought a lovely Frida Kahlo art book, which will be great for decoupage too. I should make a video one day and show you my cases that I made. Put a lot of work into it, and nobody sees them, but they are semi-erotic, so Facebook wouldn't let me post them because, the occasional nipple, which, mind you, I covered the nipples with little pasties from little crystals. So what's the problem? You're not really seeing anything, but Facebook is weird like that. So I'm not sure if YouTube will let me post my semi-erotic decoupage cases, is what I'm saying. But they're beautiful and I'm really proud of all the work I put into them. So then Jared helped me carry my hoard of rather heavy books around the rest of the convention centre. Oi, thanks Jared. I bought a Franz Kafka book in the cheaper $2.50 section. Crystal had performed as the mother in the play adaptation of Metamorphosis some years ago, so I decided it would be lovely to read his actual stories. I hadn't read him before, I'd only seen the play. I have had another lovely day, although it was devilishly humid all day and night and my asthma played havoc. In the evening, Jared and I watched Van Helsing, the Netflix series. It is rather good. Here's some more photos of me with my hoard of books on my dining table. Jared and Socks giving him lots of kisses and affection. Socks was particularly smoochy that night. But there we are, Socksy. You are the man, Socks. You're the man, my Socks, even though you're in Valhalla with Bobo now. Or rather, Bobo's in Valhalla with you, since you went first. But anyway, it's just awful. I miss them all terribly. There he is. Get rid of that glare. There he is. He really was a handsome boy, looking at his Uncle Jared with such love. I should actually do a painting of that one too. Just the look on his face is priceless. Anyway, today's gift from Sacred Space, my first Raspberry Tiger Brindabella rose of the season. The plant itself has barely clung to life for many months, but here it is, a-blooming in the sultry summer heat after the last few days of soothing rain. Life always, always finds a way. Little miracles and big miracles happen every day. Smiley face. Like my love life could unfurl miraculously one day. It's starting to. It's on a very long ribbon furling out at the moment. Like I once watched my out-breath when I was dying in the hospital, but I whistled it back. If I whistled back the breath, I could whistle back my truest, deepest love. But I have to allow for free will and true heartfelt intentions and a good, kind man this time. A man who treats me like a queen to his king. Ever the romantic Tanya Desiree Aarons. Ever the fucking romantic. I said a Shehekianu blessing for the first fruits or blossoms of the season. And here she is. And I got 2 off that bush yesterday. They're in a vase on my kitchen windowsill. Beautiful rose it is. Strong and determined.